Well, thank you very much. And let me say, it's been my privilege to work with the Center and Frank Gaffney and his team of professionals. They have done a remarkable job, which I know you're all aware of. And of course, the underlying thing with Frank and his team is principle always over money. And that is hard to come by today. So I'd like you to give Frank and his team a nice round of applause. And let me say, Frank, it's going to cost you. Most of you here tonight understand better than anybody else we have a serious constitutional crisis. Our leadership in Congress forgot what they were given the leadership for. It wasn't to support the transformation of America. It was to stop the transformation of America. They failed. So President Obama continues with his illegal and unconstitutional actions unchecked. You know, when the greatest national security threat to the United States resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you know we got a problem. I've got to tell you, never in my lifetime did I believe I would witness this great country being taken down and withdrawn from our world leadership role by our own administration. You know, the first thing you want to do when you want to take a country down is weaken the military. And that's why sequestration was the perfect storm for the Obama administration. It provided the vehicle for the unilateral disarmament of the United States military. So what do we got today? We're headed for the smallest army prior to World War II, the smallest navy prior to World War I, not World War II, World War I. We're down to 273 ships. And to put that number in perspective, that's the number of ships I had under my command in the Pacific Fleet. What we have in the Navy today is what is left of Ronald Reagan's 600-ship Navy. Now, the same reductions apply to the Air Force. They're at their lowest numbers of wings in history. And more importantly, their maintenance and readiness is down around 50%. All of this degrades our military capabilities, and the same thing applies to the Marine Corps. Compounding all of this is the social engineering that has been imposed on our military forces, which has destroyed unit integrity, cohesiveness, and most importantly, the will to win. Now, I got to tell you, none of this makes any sense when you're being challenged throughout the world. We have to turn this around as rapidly as possible. However, make no mistake, It's going to take us over a decade to do this. Sequestration. Look, it cut $1 trillion out of the military. It's going in a 10-year period. This makes absolutely no sense. The budget caps on our services must be removed. And I want to touch on a few other areas, as long as I got your undivided attention. You know, our principal objectives in the Middle East, whose cell phone? Is it mine? Must be Ellie. Our principal objectives in the Middle East remain preventing Iran from achieving a nuclear weapon capability. And the second objective should be the removal of the Iranian corrupt theocracy. And until that is done, you will never sense any stability in the Middle East. We've had many opportunities to change the course of history. And it hadn't mattered whether it's been a Republican or Democratic administration, they all failed. And we are paying the price for that today. With regard to this Iranian nuclear agreement, I got to tell you, this was a sham from the get-go. According to Michael Ledeen, when Senator Obama became candidate, Obama, in the mid-2008, he opened up a secret line of communications to the Ayatollah theocracy. That communication channel was Admiral William G. Miller. And the message was, don't do a deal with the Bush administration. Wait till I'm president. You'll get a much better deal. You will see, you will like my policies. I am your friend. This, to me, borders on treason. It certainly is a violation of the Logan Act. And I got to tell you, how can, at that time, the potential president stand up and to this day embrace the Iranian theocracy when you step back and see it was that corrupt regime that provided the key material and training support to the 9/11 hijackers? That 3,000 Americans who were doing nothing more than going to work would be alive today without that support. Without Iran's support, that attack could not have been carried out. Yet he's their friend. I know Frank's getting ready to give me the hook, but let me touch on a couple other little things. That was him on the cell phone, I want you to know. I have to say, Frank's special guest tonight sent her regrets. The pathological liar is preparing for tomorrow's testimony. Now here is a woman, I think, that couldn't handle the security for a pissy-ass compound in Benghazi when she had both strategic and tactical warning, 10 days advance tactical warning that our facilities in Benghazi were going to be attacked. Now she wants you to turn over the security of the entire country. This would be laughable if it were not so serious. You know, you can't make this stuff up. She had many opportunities to prove herself in Libya. And of course, when she testifies tomorrow, there's several areas I hope they cover. She was part of our change in strategy where we switched sides on the global war on terrorism. That has to be nailed down. She also was fundamental to the cancellation and stopping of the truce negotiations that were ongoing. My good friend, Rear Admiral Chuck Kubik, retired Rear Admiral, who was doing projects in Libya, was sought out by Gaddafi's regime and asked to enter into truce negotiations with General Carter Ham, who was the AFRICOM commander. Now, there were 3 days of ongoing negotiations. Gaddafi was ready to abdicate. And you also have to understand, there wasn't any humanitarian crisis. That was just a figment. That was just a charade to get us involved. What Gaddafi was doing, he was doing our job. He was killing the Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood militias. Yet, at the key juncture, she had those truce negotiations canceled. And as a result, we have a disaster on our hands in Libya. Thousands of people have lost their lives, and now she wants you to turn over the control of this country to her. Let me just say, it's great to be with you. I look forward to many more opportunities to interface, and God bless America.